Yo, what's good with you? Back in black with some brand new finals gameplay. Today, I wanted to introduce the finals to you guys as something new to add to your roster of shooters. This game in particular is a tournament style game show type shooter where your job is to loot safes full of money placed throughout a giant map with great amounts of destruction, akin to games like Battlefield Bad Company 2. The reason that I even say that is because the developers who made this game actually used to work at DICE, so you know they have a really good pedigree for gaming in general and know how to make a really good feeling shooter. Like I said earlier, the premise of the game is that you loot money from safes and from killing players depending on the game mode. You have to take that money to a vault and deposit it, which can take quite a while. The reason that it does take so long is because it gives the other two teams of three players a chance to actually kill you and or take the money back, which makes for that entertaining game show aspect that comes into play. Another neat thing about these maps is that, along with the destruction, there are some modifiers that can randomly turn on throughout the middle of a game if it lasts long enough. Some of which that I have seen so far is low gravity jumps for all players and a meteor shower that can come in and essentially set the entire map on fire, causing, a lot of damage, which is pretty cool if I do say so myself. I can't wait to see what else they have in store. Fleshing out the game a little bit more, there are three main classes to choose from, being light, medium, and heavy. The light class is the high damage class that has the crazy movement abilities allowing them to get around the map and in and out of combat with much more fluidity than the other two classes in comparison. Think about it kind of like playing Mirror's Edge if you have ever played that game. Plenty of vents to slide through and under, and you guys get dashes to essentially disorient your opponent like Toji from, Jujutsu Kaisen if you guys are fans of anime. You can even turn invisible, which is kind of OP in my personal opinion, but that is neither here nor there. I guess it kind of works out in the grand scheme of things because the downside of this class is that you are essentially the weakest health wise and you have to essentially pick your fights and stay around your teammates because of that fact. Taking a look at the medium class, I can infer that this is indeed the class that is geared towards the support role due to the simple fact that they start out with a team usable jump pad and they have a healing gun that makes the coolest Halo sounding shield regenerating noise that I have ever heard in the longest time. They even have defibrillators for quick revives, so case in point right there, not too fast and not too slow, even having a middle ground as far as the amount of health is concerned. This class is best utilized in conjunction right next to a heavy or supporting a light player, but I feel like that is a little harder to do considering how fast the light players usually zip around. So a medium with a heavy for the quick heals, and they already are pretty tanky. Speaking of which, I might as well go ahead and talk about the heavy class now. The heavy class is all about laying down fire, taking damage, and destroying the map better than any other class in the game. They come standard with machine guns and a sledgehammer, and they have rocket launchers, and they sport the ability that allows them to burst through walls and structures with ease, essentially allowing them to act like Destiny's Titan shoulder charge, if that makes any sense. I believe they have the biggest health pool as such, so it makes sense that they are the easiest to see and the easiest to hit with your shots as well. That being said, get used to shooting these guys with at least 2 to 3 magazines before you put them down. Moving on to how the game feels generally speaking, I will say that movement in this game is very fun and free flowing. There's lots of verticality to be had, and I find that the teams that take advantage of said verticality tend to have more success than the teams that don't. Not that you can't, it's just that if you're going to stay on the low ground, you got to make sure you're sprinting constantly and ducking in between buildings and in and out of windows, to make yourself hard to keep track of. That being said, it is possible to fall off the map, so make sure you're not going too crazy or you're paying attention to where you are jumping or running to. The vaulting in this game is very crisp, and there are a lot of ledges that you wouldn't be able to reach in other games normally that you have the liberty to take advantage of in this game. So, if you want to get to a higher place, make sure you try every way you can to do so. That being said, it testifies that this game is definitely trying to promote those situations where you are in a pinch or have a sliver of health and they want you to run away as far as avoiding your team wipe, because once your team is wiped you have a long time to wait until the rest of you guys can respawn. So playing life and movement in general is highly rewarded in this game if you are the last one alive. I will say for sure that the heavy class will have the hardest time getting around the map and timely fashion. But again, it kind of makes sense because this is the class that has the largest amount of health and can shoot people for the longest. So, you gotta have some trade-offs here and there. Meanwhile, the light class, on the other hand, will be able to get to the objective faster than anybody else. But since they are the weakest, you kind of want to wait for your team even if they are lagging behind. Or maybe you want to make that lone wolf play with the cash box, and since you're the fastest one, it kind of makes sense for you to run away while your team holds the other people off. Kind of just, a little bit of give and take, and you really want to strategize and make sure you are communicating as good as possible. Which brings me to my next point. Once you get the hang of it, everything about this game is either solid, good, pretty good, or amazing, but there are a couple of things that hold it back for me, and the first and the biggest issue in my personal opinion is being that the game is a drag to play solo, or essentially if you are, planning on having a good time, I wouldn't recommend hopping on this game unless you are bringing two friends with you. I'm not going to say that you can never win a game if you're playing by yourself or playing with randos, but it'll be so few and far in between that you'll probably hop off the game within 3 matches unless you get a win within those first 3 matches, which again probably will not happen because the way this game is designed, it is so heavily dependent on your teammates working together. So if one person isn't performing at 80% capacity or higher, you guys are probably going to lose. And it's not that the skill-based matchmaking is super heavy in this game or anything. It's more so that the teams are so small. It's just that if one person is not doing their part, essentially you have no chance on winning because it requires a lot of coordination in this game, generally speaking. My other issue is that I wish there was more game modes to choose from, maybe some that didn't revolve around collecting and depositing of cash. Dystopian capitalism rots my brain after a while, and I would like the option to play something like Team Deathmatch, or maybe some other type of mode with, different team compositions like 6v6 or, something of that nature. I reckon that it'll come in the future though, and they just wanted to get a really good game base. I'm just saying that, after a while, I would like to do something besides, quick cash and bank it, whatever the case may be. I don't know, it gets a little redundant after a while, but I guess they had to have some kind of niche because there is not many games like this, if I do say so myself. In the small amount of time that I have been playing this game, I would say that they have been drawing inspiration from 3 games that I have played throughout my lifetime. The first is going to be Battlefield. Obviously, as I said before, these developers have worked with DICE in the past, so it only makes sense that they would take, a little bit of Battlefield flavor and inject it into this formula. The other game that I am clearly seeing shades of is Fortnite. I guess you could say that's mostly because of the cosmetics, but Fortnite kind of influenced every game if you think about it, so I'm not going to get too much into the detail with that, simply because we are fighting in an arena in a battle royale type format. And again, this is a game that is free to play based solely on cosmetics, so they're following the status quo. The last game that I would say this game is drawing a lot of inspiration from is Overwatch. You can kind of see it in the health bars and just the way the health works in general. You got your tanks, you got your mediums, and you got your lights or assault classes, whatever the case may be, or whatever you want to call it. So when you smush all these things together, that is a pretty unique formula, and I would say that they are doing a pretty good job grabbing people's attention. Speaking of getting and keeping people's attention, I suppose I might as well talk about the cosmetics for a second. I think this game handled it fairly well considering the fact that it is free, like I said before. You got your battle pass, and then you got your progression that works pretty fast, especially if you are doing your weekly and daily challenges. And if I do say so myself, the cosmetics that are introduced in this game are pretty nifty looking, so it does kind of entice you to spend your bread, if that makes any sense. Some of it is fresh, a little bit of it is cringe, but from what I have seen, people have been spending good chunks of money. Some costumes that I've seen definitely cost about $20, and I've seen them multitude of people rocking it, so I would say this game has a pretty good amount of support so far. And that said, what they have on offer looks pretty good and cool, and I'm sure they'll be adding more wacky stuff as time goes on. They have the liberty to do so, because what this game does very well is that it's unserious, yet it's still very realistic looking at the same time, and you will see that especially when you look at the guns. These guns look pretty much one-to-one how they would look in real life. So again, it's like the atmosphere is cartoony in virtual reality, but at the same time it looks very like realistic and shiny and pristine. And I don't know, I feel like they just struck a really good balance as far as like they have the liberty to get as wacky as they want with their cosmetics, but nobody's going to call them Fortnite for looking cartoony or whatever the case may be, even though the atmosphere or premise of the game is kind of cartoony in itself. All in all, I'm gonna have to give this game a smooth 7.5 out of 10. I don't love it or anything like that, but I will say there is pretty much nothing here for me to hate aside from what I have recently talked about in the earlier part of the video. Also, I will say that I am playing on PC, rocking a 3070, and I have, crashed a couple of times. And obviously, you can probably see in the game I drop frames here and there, but it's nothing too crazy. I just wanted to mention that in case you play on PC yourself. All that being said, provided with the gameplay that I have showed you, what do you guys think of the finals? Will you be trying it? And if you have played it already, what have you formulated with your own opinions? Let me know down in the comment section. I would be very interested to hear your takes on the game. And all that being said, don't forget to aim for that like button, shoot that subscribe button as well. It'll help you find better teammates, improve your skill-based matchmaking. And yeah, thanks for watching. Black Guy out.
Technique.
The Pirates are in danger, but they still have one contestant going strong.
We gotta go down. Okay.
Yikes. Teamwork for the ultra rares.
Oh, shit. Where's that at? What the fuck? You see that? Oh my god. Alright, stay where you shoot.
No. I'm shooting at somebody else. He's literally fucking. Probably let him do it. This way, this way. No, 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 come this way.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Has a chance to impress our sponsors here. An awkward moment for the live wires. Team left.
cash out dropped all the way to the bottom.
Come on, bro. These niggas be melting, bro. That shit's so annoying. Not either, bro. Even at 17, gonna melt me like.
Oh, they sick. I know they're sick.
Like, nigga, I'm blasting these niggas, bro.
I was gonna tell you to run heavies. Two heavies is OD because that's hella health they gotta shred.
Damn, nigga. Not here, not A.
The ultra rares are re-engaging. Over here. Powerhouses have started a cash out. Let's walk there.
Shit makes no fucking sense, bro. There's other niggas around me. Decided to shoot at me. That's not shooting the fucking bomb. Niggas falling to doors and shit.
Nigga, I can't get up there. Fucking heavy.
Look, good Marvin. Pick him up, pick him up, pick him up. Niggas lighting me on fire.
Cash out. Pristine.
Lighting me on fire.
You coming?
Throwing pyro grenade.
Yo, that shit.
Doesn't make no sense, bro.
That fucking big dude, that big dude's fucking annoying with that bubble suit.